Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to a new video, and we're comparing someone who is like average, we could say, against someone who's like a pro player. So, for example, here we've got Andilex, and then we're going to go against someone who's not as good. This is going to be solos, so the cash card VOD review, and we're going to look over the replays and see what both of them are doing, and what they're doing differently, etc. Alright, let's just get into it. Okay, so first thing we're going to go into is the drop spot, and starting off, we can see that Andilex is landing at the Hydro Dam split place. It's definitely a very good drop spot, You get a lot of loot, a lot of places to rotate to as well. One thing that I did see that he was doing, it did look like he was scouting for POIs like Weeping and Pink Hill, and even places like this to see what was uncon as he was gliding in. So he knew potentially where he could rotate to that would be free, or where he could maybe rotate to find someone and then fight them. Firstly, we're going to look at Kryzer's drop spot. He is landing at the Flopper Island. Probably not one of the best drop spots right now. It gets good loot. You get good loot if you are uncon, but it can be quite inconsistent, really. With the fishing spots as well, you can get 3 shellfish, or you can get none at all, so it can be really consistent. There's not a lot of chest spawns either, and also, not forgetting the fact you can't farm any hards, really. You can definitely farm brick here, but when it comes to metal, you're going to have to rotate into other POIs and places to farm more metal, which can be quite risky in the end. Okay, now we're going into a mid-game. Andilex does end up taking a fight just towards the end of first zone, and he's essentially using this strategy where he's just sitting in the car, and these black cars as well is really hard to see. Assuming he's waiting for the person that he knew landed here, and he's waiting for them to come past, and he's going to come out with his pump. Obviously you can see his pump selected in the inventory, and he's going to come out with his pump through the window and then pump him. Essentially, pretty easy way to start a fight, get an instant advantage. Yeah, so as you can see, it gets that initial 50 tag off there. One thing that I'm going to say quickly is that he might struggle a little bit later zones now, because he's complete edge. He's right here taking a fight, and say if second zone is likely to pull north, because it's very north zone, so second zone likely to pull north as well, so he's going to be very, very far back, so it might be hard to get a good position in second zone as well. So we can see in this fight, he's essentially letting the other player do a lot of the work. He's not really making any of the plays, he's just holding a shotgun out the whole way through, and he's just waiting for the other player to make a mistake. So if he just holds his shotgun out the whole time, the other player's going to make a mistake, and he gets a nice pre-fire there, which essentially just lets him get a kill, because then he can get the piece control off. As long as he doesn't take so much damage here. That's a big mistake there. I think you've rushed that too much. You could have put a lot more time. But still ends up getting the kill. So yeah, that's a nice way to execute a mid-game fight. Right, looking at his first zone rotator now. So he's ended up rotating quite late, especially as he's uncon as well off the drop spot. He should be rotating a little bit earlier here. So you can see he's come out of the drop spot with only 105 builds. So he's got no metal essentially. He's got a tiny bit, but not really a lot of metal. Whereas other POIs like Andilex's drop spot, you'd be coming out with essentially cap metal and cap brick and cap. You can also see he's come out with 4 minis and 1 med kit. And a pad, which is actually quite good. It's not bad, but he's come up with no AR as well, so we can see the loot is going to be a little bit inconsistent throughout his games. Okay, so now we're looking at his third zone positioning. So as I said earlier, he was taking a fight like complete edge all the way down here for first zone, and that did mean he's going to be harder to rotate for his later zones. So now he is stuck on edge. He's stuck on complete edge here. As you can see, he's right here, and realistically, you want to be centre third if you can. Also, not even that, but he's really low down. If you look here, he's really low down, and he's not even using, he's not got any high ground, so it's going to be, if he doesn't pull 4th zone, and he wants to refresh a pad, it's going to be a lot harder, as it's very likely to not pull 4th zone, because he's complete edge as well. Linking back to the last point we were at, is his bad 3rd zone positioning. So we're going to look at how he quickly recovers from that. One thing that you have to note down when you're rotating is what is stopping you from actually rotating. So you can see here, Andilex doesn't have zone. The moving zone, in zone is about where this Harrison guy is. So you can see what is stopping Andilex here. So really, this guy and this guy is also stopping Andilex from moving, but this guy as well. So if Andilex wants to white line in, this guy's the main thing that's going to stop him. So he can wait for this guy to go, then he can easily white line in and get a nice rotate. And he sees that one thing that's stopping him has gone, and now he's able to rotate. So he uses that straight away. Straight after the guy in front of him goes, he goes as well, and he also knows that there's old loot in here, so he gets gets that loot quickly. We're gonna have a look at our player now. As you can see, he is sitting in a bush. Sitting in the bush is fine in solos, to be honest, not bad. He is sat here though, so that is definitely a problem. Sat on complete edge of second zone. It is dead side, you're right, but realistically, if you do want to be dead side still, you should at least be central dead side, which central dead side is essentially being the edge of dead side, so it's closest to the center of your zone. So in this case, the center of dead side would be here, because it's essentially where the edge of dead side is. So if zone does pull towards dead side, you would have the option to rotate back very easily. Whereas if you're complete edge and zone pulls max as well, then you're going to have a very hard time to rotate. Okay, so now we're going into how Andilex rotates into a 50-50 zone. As you can see from earlier, this is the rotation path he followed, and I quite like it because he sticks to the right side of the zone here. As you can see, this hill is very high up, so if as long as he's on top of that and people that are below him, he'll be able to refresh the pad from there. So that's what he does here. He's waiting for it, and he ends up being able to actually refresh the pad. So you can see here, as he's above, he just sits there looking at people, and if no one pads, he's able to use his own as well, so it's not too bad. When you're the highest, you're able to drop down on people and pad them as well. Okay, we can see here on his rotate, he's just wasting too much time. So he did end up pulling a pretty decent zone, to be honest. It is max distance, you're right, but he can use this whole left side of zone, which is going to be still dead side, to rotate very easily. But you can see he's just wasting too much time here. He's just sitting in a bush on the rotate. You need to be getting in as early as possible, especially when your zone's pulling maximum. You want to get in as early as you can, really. Especially as it's third zone now, so if you can get centre third, or at least in a little bit further, then you'll be in a much better position for the rest of your game. Looking at Kras's position now, he did end up pulling fourth zone, which is pretty lucky, to be honest. He's complete edge though, so he was complete edge of third, and he did end up pulling just fourth zone. So rotating in a little bit, he's got a decent position actually. He's on the edge of a hill, so he's quite high up as well, so he might be able to refresh pad from these people down here, or maybe even over here, but we'll see what he does. So he ends up rotating into 50-50 zone. He just uses his own pad. He could have definitely waited to try and refresh someone else's pad, but I quite like where he lands, to be honest. He lands quite far, like, deep into zone, so he's kind of central. But he definitely could have invested a lot more mats going upwards rather than just staying flat. So here he wasted a lot of mats. He could have definitely got up like 2 layers just using the exact same amount of mats there. And because he's got no pad now, he definitely wants to be on a higher layer. From Kras's position now, he should definitely be looking back at those people that are going to rotate in. So this is where you get your kills, this is where you get your tags up for Soul Surge as well. So we're going to see here how Andilex clashes. He ends up getting a couple good refreshes still. He's only got 400 mats going into first moving as well, which is very low. So he ended up padding and getting himself into a really good position. Gets himself quite high layer as well. So he's quite high layer, and he landed fairly front side, so he knows that people are going to still try and rotate past him. And when those people are rotating past him, that's when he's going to try and look for that refresh. So you can see he's looking back here, looking for those players that rotate past. He ends up seeing that he can easily rotate left side. So see here, how left side is very uncontested. He notices that and uses that as his rotate. He's still on quite a high layer as well. He's not dropped to a different layer yet. He's just using old mats and trying to get in the box. So he's playing really confident now with shotgun out a lot. As long as he makes sure he gets that initial good 100 tag off, then he can almost guarantee he's going to win that 50-50. So he ends up getting in the box still and taking down that guy. And I was getting like a 1k mat refresh, which is really good. So after he gets those mats, he's just building a lot and then gets himself in a good position on front side again. And once he's hit front side of the zone, now he's going to look back again and try and maybe look for another refresh. You see he's getting all of his kills and all of his refresh from just looking back into zone. He has very good knowledge of what areas of zone are going to be dead. And he uses that for his rotates. You can see his zone pulled north twice and then it's pulled over to this direction. And he ends up wrapping around the north side here really late. He ends up wrapping around here really late as he knows this side's going to be dead side. A lot of people get caught on this side, especially low ground on this side, the north side of zone. Very free to rotate, and he ends up using that to his advantage and gets in a good position here. He's nice on low ground now. 270 mats. Low ground is very easy to get refreshes from. He's only got 150 mats, but he's still tarping like he's got a lot of mats. He's essentially playing like he's got a lot of mats until he has flat 0. So even if you've only got wood left, he still keeps building a lot and claiming his layer. So he's worked his way to front side now. It's going to be a lot easier to get refresh compared to if he was at back side. So as you can see it, uses the floppers to his advantage really. He can storm tank here and he can wait for the guards that are just running around him to die. And then he's going to take those mats and try and win the game using those mats. So he's got 130 mats now, whereas Queasy has flat 0 as he's been playing the height the whole game. So yeah, using all his mats here. Bit of a weird double edit up there. Could have played a lot more time there. Still, clears that game very well. Okay, as you can see what I was saying earlier, he does end up having someone boxing on top of him as well. So it's going to make it much harder to refresh a pad now. He's got much less viewpoints. Even if he goes into this cone or this cone here, he's going to have a lot less viewpoints of who's padding around him. So you can see what he does here for his for the first moving. You can see he's just looking through his cone like this, and he can't actually see anything. He's not looking both ways. He's just looking this direction, whereas if he was looking this direction as well, it basically doubles the chance of him being able to refresh a pad for the first moving. So essentially just ends up running out towards this direction. He just prays this guy's going to pad. And essentially no one pads here, and it's very, very scuffed. He sees a pad in storm, which luckily he is able to refresh. But it's a lot of hassle really that he didn't have to go through for no reason. See, now he's just wasting time. See, he's just basically sat in a box. He doesn't gain anything from just sitting here. He's ahead early as well. So there are people backside which still need to rotate in, like this guy here. That's definitely a free kill. If he is looking at that, then that is a free kill. Okay, we're gonna have a key mistake here. He's just making a lot of mistakes in his endgame, so it's quite good to look at. Basically, one thing you got to think about is your priorities in endgame. So you can see second moving pool's quite far for him, and he runs the front side, which is good. Definitely should be building a little bit more behind him, and he would be chilling. But instead, he just wastes time. He wastes time, stays way too far back here. You should just be getting ahead, like complete front side, up on the hill, and you'd be in a very good position. But no, he stays back, looks back. You don't really gain much. This is definitely not the way to get a refresh as well. So see how much of a worse position this puts him in. If he did end up, if that guy didn't pad, he would be in a much worse position. It's very lucky. He's getting very lucky with the pad refresh, so can't lie. Oh, okay. See here, he had a very free option to just rotate through and just run up. So you can see here, it looks very free throughout here. If we go up through here, we will be able to stick to the right side then and get into a good position on his own. But essentially now, he's just staying completely back. He's still got 200 mats, so you can still do a lot of 200 mats. You don't need a refresh. Because it's late, he's just sandwiching himself in between a lot of people. And he doesn't build anywhere near enough that lets this guy get the advantage on him. And then he gets sandwiched and stuck at the backside of zone. See how Andilex was playing in the final moving zone versus how this guy's playing? This guy's got 18 builds left still. When Andilex had 18 builds left, he was still full tarping on low ground. So you see this guy's just running around with his pump out, essentially like he's got no mats. So when you do have mats, you need to use those mats. You need to essentially play like you've got good mats until you've got flat 0. That is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you did enjoy it, make sure to drop a like, obviously. And if you do want similar content to this, there is a lot more content over on my masterclass. So check the top link in the description for all the info on my masterclass. And if you do want VODs like this for yourself, then make sure to check the second link as well, because I'm doing VOD reviews. I sell video VODs, text VODs, and sub VODs over on my Twitch. So make sure to click the second link in the description if you do want a VOD review of yourself. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see everyone later.